Can everyone just make sure they're muted as they enter from the waiting room? Just going to give it a few moments for everyone to enter. All right. Good afternoon. This is a hearing before the Boston Cannabis Board, the BCB. Today is June 15th, 2022. Today's hearing is being conducted pursuant to certain temporary amendments to the open meeting law. This is what allows us to meet virtually. This hearing is being recorded and will be posted to the City of Boston's website. Before I review some procedural matters, I will introduce Chairwoman Kathleen Joyce.
Good morning, good afternoon. My name is Kathleen Joyce. I am Chair of the Boston Cannabis Board. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. I am also joined by my fellow commissioners, Commissioner Lisa Holmes, Commissioner Alejandro St. Gian, Commissioner John Smith, and Commissioner Darlene Lombos.
Thank you, Chairwoman Joyce. And my name is Jasmine Nguyen, and I am the Cannabis Board Manager. We are also joined by Allison Quinn, who is the Project Manager for the BCB. So I will begin by reading each item into the record. I will then ask who is present on behalf of each applicant. The first three items are requests for changes by already approved licensees, so they will have 5 minutes each to present to the BCB, followed by questions from the board members. We will then move to new license applications, in which they will have 10 minutes each to present to the BCB, followed by questions from the board members. We will then take public testimony, beginning with elected officials or the representatives, followed by general public. If you wish to testify, please sign up via the link that will be put in the chat. If you have already signed up, you do not have to do it again. Additionally, you may use the chat function to request to testify. Please wait until the matter in which you would like to speak about is called. Do not use the chat function to give testimony. It will not be considered. When testifying, please state your full name, address, and affiliation. Testimony will be limited to 2 minutes, at which time you will be muted. Additional testimony may be submitted in writing to cannabisboard@boston.gov. The record will be kept open until Tuesday, June 21st at 5 p.m. The BCB does not give any more weight to spoken testimony than it does to written testimony. We will begin with the first item. The applicant is East Boston Local Roots, LLC. The license premise is 1006 Bennington Street, East Boston. The license type is a recreational cannabis dispensary license. The request is to use DBA East Boston Cannabis Co. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
I am
Mike Ross. All
right. On this one, this is Michael Ross, attorney for the applicant.
Okay, again, you'll have 5 minutes. You may begin.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and members of the board, and Ms. Nguyen. Again, my name is Mike Ross. I am the attorney for East Boston Local Roots. We are here on a changing of a DBA, of a do business as. East Boston's Local Roots original DBA was going to be East Boston Local Roots. However, the applicant is aware of another cannabis establishment in Massachusetts, which is also operating under the trade name of Local Roots. So in order to avoid any potential confusion, as well as any potential legal challenges that might come from the duplicative use of the word Local Roots, and out of an abundance of caution, the applicant now wishes to change its name to East Boston Cannabis Co. That's essentially the reason why we are here, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Where is the other place located?
It's far out there. I'm forgetting, Madam Chair, exactly where it is now at the moment. It could be like in Plainville or something like that. It's out there. It's not in the city of Boston. It's not in Somerville or Cambridge. It's not in the immediate greater Boston area. I think it's in like mid Massachusetts, thereabouts. And they may have more than one outlet. You know, we didn't spend too much time looking at it because it just looked like trouble, and we didn't want to invite a problem. They were in the marketplace before we were. It was a pretty clear case that we looked at, and we said let's just come up with another name.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Holmes, do you have any questions? Commissioner St. Gian? Commissioner Smith,
No, thank you.
Commissioner Longos. All right. Now we will move to public testimony, beginning with elected officials or their representatives. Is anyone here that would like to speak in regards to this proposal? Seeing no hands and no one signed up via the chat, the board will take this matter under advisement. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
The next item we have is Beacon Compassion, Inc. The license premise is 1524 VFW Parkway, West Roxbury. The license type is a co-located medical and recreational cannabis dispensary license. The request is to change the DBA from high five to up top. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
Good afternoon, Madam Manager. Pete D'Agostino with 10X Strategies on behalf of Beacon Compassion.
Okay, you will have 2 minutes. You may begin. 5 minutes. You may begin.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. Beacon is before you today. As you may remember, the board recently approved a DBA of High Five. There was some trademark concerns related to the use of that DBA that we had. So in an abundance of caution and to prevent any future issues with the use of the word, we have refiled our DBA as up top. So similar to Mr. Ross's case, this is just related to potential overlap in the use of the name.
Thank you, Chairwoman Joyce.
I have no questions at this time. Thank you.
Commissioner Holmes,
No questions.
Commissioner Sangian,
No questions.
Commissioner Smith,
Thank you, Jasmine. No question.
Commissioner Lambos. All right, we will begin with public testimony. Is there anyone that wishes to speak in regards of this proposal, starting with elected officials or their representatives? Seeing no one, the board will take this matter under advisement. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
No problem. The next item we have, the applicant is Races on the Hill LLC. The license type, the license premise is 123 Terrace Street, Boston, Mass. The license type is a recreational dispensary license, and the request is a change in beneficial interest. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
Jeffrey Sanchez.
Thank you. You have 5 minutes. You may begin.
Great, thank you. Hello, Madam Chair, members of the board, Jeffrey Sanchez on behalf of Races on the Hill, which is located at Terrace Street. And with today is Jimmy Huang, my partner. As you may recall, I'm manager of the entity which this board previously sell recreational, and I'm here before you today for a change of benefit. We're not proposing change.
Mr. Sanchez, you're breaking up. Sorry. Your connection is a little wonky. You keep going in and out.
Okay, and how about now?
You sound good now. Go ahead.
Okay, I got to scream at the computer then. Sorry about that. So I want to make a note that Races on the Hill, we're a non-equity applicant with local roots on Mission Hill, Races for the better word. And since obtaining the approval that all of you were so gracious with, have been searching for an investor who would provide the necessary investment so that we can complete the licensing process, as well as make sure that we're able to build this business while maintaining all of the commitments to giving back to this community and being net positive ever. As a lifelong Boston resident and Mission Hill and Plain, it was critical for me to find a business partner that can appreciate everything that the building, the initial parts of this, as well as make sure that we honor the commitments that we made to the community. And we're incredibly fortunate to have found a partner in Jimmy and his team. And I'm really happy to say that this changes beneficial interest that if approved, 50% minority stake to 76% be owned. My new partner will bring the operational experience that's going to be necessary to successful business. But at the same time, I want to be clear, I'm still an owner of this business, and I'm committed to all of the commitments that were made to the community directly. We're not proposing, and we hope consider approving this requested so that we can get to opening and building and operational as quickly as possible. The past year and a half is really tough out there in terms of trying to make this deal happen. So thank you so much, and my partners and I are happy.
Thank you. Chairwoman Joyce?
At this time, I don't have any questions.
Thank you.
Commissioner Sangian?
I was just trying to look at the letter from the attorney and then the copy of the interest. Can you just, what's the change in interest? Are you and Alex sharing, selling part of your shares? That I couldn't quite hear the full testimony.
Yeah, we did sell of our shares in it. So right now the percentage is broken up around, we own about 25%. Alex, myself holding the largest stake,
At
and
4.
Alex and still in the deal, and
Okay.
I will be the face of the organization.
Okay, yeah, I was just wondering if the Excel is current numbers. Okay, thanks. No other questions. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jeff.
Here we go. Commissioner Holmes?
No questions.
Commissioner Smith?
No questions right now. Thank you, Jasmine.
Commissioner Lombos?
No question, no question.
Thank you. Is there anybody present that would like to speak in regards to this proposal, beginning with elected officials or their representatives? Seeing no one, the board will take this matter under advisement. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
You're welcome. We will now move to applications for new licenses that follow the 1-to-1 equity to non-equity ratio. Our first applicant is Low Key 2 LLC, DBA Low Key Dispensary. The proposed license premise is 5252 to 5270 Washington Street, West Roxbury. The license type is a recreational cannabis dispensary license. The proposed hours of operation is 10 a.m. to 9 p.m., 7 days a week. This is an equity applicant. The date of initial filing of the application was January 1st, 2022. The date of inspectional services filing was September 28th, 2021, and the community meeting was held April 25th, 2022. Before we begin with the presentation, I will ask Aaliyah Forrest, who works for the Mayor's Office of Economic Opportunity and Inclusion as a Director of Business Strategy, to testify regarding the equity certification.
Thank you, Jasmine. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Good afternoon, everyone. Our office was able to certify Low Key 2 LLC as an equity applicant through documentation submitted by the applicant. Jeff Similian is the CEO and 70% beneficial interest holder of Low Key 2 LLC, exceeding the 51% ownership interest threshold set forth in the ordinance. Mr. Similian meets the following criteria. He fits the criteria of residing in Boston for at least the past 7 years. Mr. Similian submitted copies of utility bills, lease agreements, and financial statements that verify his Boston addresses from at least 2013 in Dorchester, Roxbury, and in Hyde Park. Secondly, Mr. Similian has self-identified as Black, which satisfies the criteria of a person who is Black, African-American, Hispanic, Latino, Asian, or of Indigenous descent. Finally, Mr. Similian has been certified by the Cannabis Control Commission as an economic empowerment applicant on May 8th, 2018, and has lived in the city of Boston since at least 2013. This satisfies the criteria that of being certified by the CCC as an economic empowerment applicant or social equity applicant, and has been a resident of Boston for at least one of the last 3 years. Are there any questions about this certification?
No, thank you, Aaliyah. Who is present on behalf of the licensee?
Jeff Similian, I'm currently present.
Okay. Are you the only one competing, or?
I also have my attorney, Kyle Smith, CEO, partner, Robert Nichols, Chief of Security, Mark Comrade, Inventory manager Sam Gerber, and general manager Matt Dever on the call as well, and other supporters as well, employees and investors and Loki as well.
Okay. All right, so you have 10 minutes to present. I will give you a warning at the 2-minute mark. You may share your screen and begin your presentation.
Absolutely. Just 1 second, please. Share screen. All right. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
That's awesome. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jeff Similian, CEO of Loki Dispensary. I'm a Boston resident, as previously mentioned. We currently got one, due to time, so I'm actually going to try to speed this up a little bit. We recently got one store approved in Dorchester. We are currently in the process of getting under construction currently, and Rob is the general contractor as well, business partner as well. He's running the operation and construction as well currently. As I mentioned, we have our chief of security on the call, our CFO Felix, legal counselor. I believe our compliance officer is also on the call as well. We are working with Aridity to ensure that we are employing current residents from the city of Boston and also from the community of Cubman Square as employees. And we also have our general manager and Matt Dever on the call as well. That's who pretty much our team consists of. We are, again, as I mentioned, we are a recreational brand in Boston, primarily focused on Boston. And we currently, as I mentioned, have a store that's under construction in the Dorchester, in the community that Rob and I grew up in. Our mission, again, is to just really focus on bringing a change to this community. Boston, Dorchester is a community that we grew up in. The reason I got into this industry is because in 2016, from what I've learned as far as cannabis industry being such a profitable and lucrative business, I figured this is something that, with the work that Rob and I are doing as real estate brokers in the community, this is something that we could continue to do, to utilize the cannabis industries as a vehicle to continue to employ people from our community. The location is 5270 Washington Street. It's a building that my partners purchased back in 2019. There is about 10,000 square feet of space that's currently available in the back of the building. So that's where we intend of utilizing that space to make our retail space. So the front of the building, we remain as is. We will utilize the back of the building where there is parking, and that will also lessen on the traffic on Washington Street, and also just minimize that, any issues, from the community that may oppose. So this is an existing floor plan. This is what the property would look like. As far as positive community impact, I'll pass it on to my partner Rob to speak more on that, and also to introduce himself as well.
Good afternoon, Madam Chairwoman and members of the board. Thank you for having us on today. I'm Robert Nichols, Jeff's co-founder and COO of Loki Dispensary. And as Jeff had mentioned, we're local guys born and raised in the city, and we really want to do what we say and say what we do. So with that said, our positive community impact plan starts first and foremost with ensuring we hire locally. We're going to hire as many local residents as possible. I think, we're committed to 75% or more, but we're hoping to get as many folks as we can, other than folks who kind of have a special experience specific to the cannabis industry. We're going to use local contractors. I'm a local contractor myself, so my team and I will be able to handle the build out of the space. Obviously, the 3% community impact fee is a mandate, but we're committed to going above and beyond that by providing a $250,000 commitment over the course of 5 years to local civic groups, so that money can be utilized where it's needed most. So we're going to set up a small community board with local members, and they'll decide how those funds are dispersed on an annual basis. We'll also really be looking to help our team members grow and develop and build wealth. So we're going to be providing real estate courses and classes, and also providing first-time home buyer classes and even down payment assistance if they go through the program. And then, lastly, Jeff does a lot with Kings Amongst Kings. It's a nonprofit men's group that he runs that really provides mentorship and business development opportunities for folks to come together weekly. And that's solely for free. So there's a lot of different things we're doing individually and coming together collectively through the dispensary that we believe will really allow this to be a staple in the area and provide a positive impact. And then hours and safety, I know we're going to get more into this, but just based on our first HCA, we've requested 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. Obviously that those times are flexible. We're going to optimize that so that we're not disturbing the community and being open in hours really we're not getting many customers coming in. So that's kind of a moving target, but this proposal is just kind of based on what we were able to get for our first location. Safety and diversion plan. Mark Conrad is the head of security. Mark, do you want to speak a little bit to this and kind of just go through our process as far as security and safety?
Yeah. So, hello, everyone. My name is Mark Conrad. I own a security firm that's been in operation and has been operating in the city of Boston for 22 years now. Yeah, so we have a couple of dispensaries that are actually operating right now. So this process in terms of making sure that everybody is checked, verified in terms of their IDs, make sure that the community and the business understand the accountability of that. As you know, everybody on this phone in terms of police work, and somebody that's a retired police officer and somebody that's been in law enforcement for over 30 years, you need help not only from the police, but more importantly from the community. So tying into those sort of things, we've been consistently going to community meetings, getting support from people in West Roxbury, working with the local officials and community leaders in terms of what we need to do in terms of making sure the traffic flow is working specifically from where this location is off of Washington Street, making sure the traffic flow is not interfering with any of the community and the traffic itself. And also just trying to get some buy-in to understanding that just because you're having a dispensary in the area doesn't necessarily necessitate that there's going to be more of a criminal element that's coming through as well. Everybody in terms of the traffic flow, obviously I just spoke about that, but in terms of making sure that all of our people are uniformed and of course identifiable. We have still safety protocols that will be put in place. We do a multi-layer training process, not only for our security staff, but we have Todd McGee that comes in. He's a retired state trooper, but Todd is not only known as a retired state trooper, but Todd trains regionally, locally, and also internationally. So what we do is a two-pronged approach in terms of when we hire our security staff, we make sure that we also integrate that with the staff as well. But these are some of the things, making sure that we also make sure that we pay attention to nuisance, things that are actually happening in the community and so forth that's around this particular area, and keeping the sidewalk as clear as possible as we can. Our authority obviously is to the building itself and the parking lot, and we're going to do our best.
2-minute warning.
I think that I'm good in terms of moving on from here.
Does that conclude the presentation or?
That concludes it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
Yeah, I just, I could easily keep talking, but I certainly don't want to.
Chairwoman Joyce, do you have any questions for the applicant?
I know this was covered in some of the testimony that was forwarded to us via email, but can you just talk to us about this about your security operations as it relates to the park nearby. I know with the community group, you fleshed out some plans that you were having. Could you share that with us?
Yeah, so I think the sentiment from the community group that there's a park that's across the street. As I had a conversation with a couple of people, I tried to explain to them as best as I possibly could. One, trying to find out, and we've done some research in terms of finding out, is there people going in the park and it's creating a nuisance in terms of people actually going in the park and smoking marijuana? Is that a place that's hanging out? Two, in terms of our authority, I'm certified through the state police. My license is a detective watch license. We don't have authority to patrol the park itself, but we want to work with the community in terms of any issues or concerns that they may have in terms of nuisance calls. Now, assault calls or something that's actually happening, that really falls on the police. And we're going to do our best in terms of the cameras and everything else that are around the building to make sure that we can capture anything that's happening in terms of people that would migrate over into that area. And of course, we're going to do our best in terms of, speaking to our clients that come through the door to say, please do not, well, by regulations, they can't be, smoking on the property or doing that, but just to be, careful in terms of, going across the street in terms of that park. I think from what I took from the community meeting, and this is just what I received, is that when I spoke to people in the community, they want kind of like a detailed plan of what we're going to do to work in the park. And, quite honestly, low key really doesn't have the authority to work inside that park. We can suggest to the clients, obviously, that come through the door to make sure that there is any issues. We can work with the police if there's any issues, if we see anybody that's hanging out, if there's an assault that takes place or some criminal activity, absolutely. We will do our best to make sure we notify the police, but we don't have the authority to actually go in and actually patrol the park that's across the street.
And Mrs. Joyce, if I could just, this is Kyle Smith, counsel for the applicants. Just to follow up basically on a little bit of what Mark said, but only as of yesterday, we have active communication with an officer Roche of the E5 department for the police. So they are very, proactively trying to have open lines of communication with the, relevant policing authority. So the intent is also to maintain those open lines of communication and loop in with the police as necessary. But just want to let you know that they are being, extremely proactive about this.
Yeah, and I just want to add just before Chairwoman, myself and my business partner, we have, and the people that are on my staff, we have 120 years of police experience. My business partner is a retired state trooper of 35 years, worked in that specific area for over 20 years and so forth. We have wonderful relationships with the police department, so that's not going to be the issue. I just want to make sure that as we approach this as somebody that's going into the community, that we're good community citizens, and that this is something that I obviously teach at in terms of in criminal justice and so forth. It takes a community in terms of understanding a whole host of these issues when it comes to things that are coming. We're not going, our hope is that we're going to add an added value, a positive added value, and kind of take the stigma off of people, smoking marijuana. Now, that doesn't mean if I have a child that I'm walking through the park and you have this whole onslaught of people that are coming through the park and smoking marijuana, I understand that, but that's not what I see. I don't, from the dispensaries that, and this is, we're getting ready to open up our 4th dispensary next month, in terms of partnerships with other businesses and so forth. We haven't seen any sort of migration of an excess of people coming through and going to an open park that's across the street, or an open parking lot that's across the street, or an open community that's across the street, that people are lighting up and actually partaking in the product that they're actually buying.
Chairwoman Joyce, do you have any additional questions?
No, thank you very much.
Okay. Jeff, can you stop sharing your screen? Please. Thank you. Great. Commissioner Holmes, do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Commissioner Sankian?
I don't at this time. Thank you.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes, thank you. And I saw in some of your communication, you have a reparations plan to do for incarcerated folks. Can you talk about that a little bit? How are you funding that?
Jeff, are you there?
I didn't get the question. I'm sorry, can you repeat that question again?
I saw in some of your communication that you have a reparations plan. Is that correct?
Reparations?
Yeah.
Well, no, not necessarily the reparations. No, we have a contribution to help our employees, being that we are real estate owners and brokers. We think that is very important, for the community, for everybody to own real estate. So one of the things that we want to do for our community, for our employees, we are creating this a buy home program where we're teaching you about real estate, about the acquisition, how to acquire real estate, and then also how to maintain your property as well.
So that's one plan. And then I'm reading here from the summary that you didn't show on screen, but it says that there are 7 diversity and inclusion goals. Goal 7 is to create a reparations fund in support of Mass Cultivated.
Oh yes, we are also working with Mass Cultivated to create a fund, because they are also working with individuals who are basically coming back from being incarcerated into the job force. So we plan on working with them to create a fund to help their program and continue getting people back into the workforce.
So you're creating a fund for them, but you're also thinking of hiring people who are in that program? Or?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay. And you said that your starting pay across the board is $18 an hour?
Correct.
Okay. And one last question on the real estate one-on-one mentorship. You're thinking that your employees will be interested in doing some sort of real estate course? It's part and package of hiring them or something?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that again? What's the first part?
You have listed in here real estate one-on-one mentorship. Is that for your employees?
Yes, for employees.
Yeah, and it's specifically to helping them become first-time home buyers, especially folks, as we're employing them, we also want to encourage them to build wealth and really invest in themselves through the acquisition of real estate. It's a skill that Jeff and I have, so it's something that we definitely wanted to impart on our team and provide that guidance, because it's not an easy process.
Absolutely. And then we're also willing for anybody who participates in our program, we are offering to pay for their closing costs.
Okay. 20 to 30 full-time and part-time jobs available to West Roxbury residents. You're aware that West Roxbury looks a little different than Roxbury. So it's mostly local folks from West Roxbury.
Correct. And I think that's a big part of this, Councilor Smith. I mean, I think we've got to make sure, we're committing to local. Obviously, we're going to be hiring folks of color as well. But, we want to make sure that, by them supporting us, we want to support them as best we can.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And just to briefly chime in, but hiring locally also hopefully reduces the amount of people commuting. They can find alternative means of transportation other than driving, so that helps to reduce traffic flow, which is a critical thing usually for these types of facilities. Also, I have not really spoken too much with Rob and Jeff about this, but if it comes to general education to their employees for real estate, I do help people buy and sell residential real estate, and I teach both the class to get agents licensed. I teach a lot of first-time homebuyer classes at a lot of local CDCs and NDCs. So just very happy to impart anything that I can have for advice to their staff to help further that mission of theirs. So.
And if I can just add a little something, Commissioner, is that Westcon is involved with 3 different dispensaries, one of which is in Chelsea. And this thing about hiring people locally really does make sense in terms of getting people that are from the local community to support the economic support that they need in order to get jobs and so forth. And then secondly, there's two dispensaries in Cambridge as well that we are hiring local Cambridge residents. And as you know, it's really difficult in terms of living in Boston and Cambridge and so forth in terms of pricing and so forth. So we try to do our best to try to hire folks as best as we possibly can for the local communities.
Commissioner Lombos, do you have any questions?
I do, thank you. I'm going to stick with employment. I think Commissioner Smith and I are on the same wavelength here. Am I correct to say that you have other cannabis businesses currently? You have 2 other ones?
This would be our second one if we get this approved. The first one is currently under construction.
Oh, under construction. So it's not in operation yet.
No.
I see. And then on the 20 to 30 full-time, part-time, what's the breakdown that you're thinking? The reason why I ask is many employers have used part-time as a way to not provide benefits for folks. So I'm just wondering what your full-time, part-time breakdown is.
So
I can speak to that if you'd like, Rob.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Matt is our general manager of our first location, so he can definitely shed some light on that.
Yeah, so we prefer full-time employees. We want people to be involved in the business as much as possible. The only position, we would look for a part-time employee would be, say, maybe a janitor, or if, somebody is part of the community, really great employee, really great asset, but, maybe they have some kind of medical condition where they can't work full-time. We might be able to assist them in getting them at least some payment on the books, but we definitely prefer full-time employees, and a majority of those would be full-time employees.
Thank you. And then can you say a little bit more about this Veridity staffing group? They're a consultant group. Are they doing recruitment and hiring for you? Are they a vendor of color? I'm just wanting to understand more about them.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Councilor Lombos, Commissioner Lombos, we went with Veridity early on because they were the first cannabis-specific staffing agency that we were able to identify, and we met with them, and they've done a great job helping us find some employees. They are not a vendor of color, but they do have an expertise in sourcing cannabis talent, which is a skill. And Jeff and I are not cannabis operators. We're real estate first. Cannabis is something we're kind of getting into. So we had 2 options. It was one, we could try to run it ourselves and keep it, we're the owners and we're doing this. Or 2, we could, get the license and bring in an outside operator to run it. So we opted for option 1. And in doing so, we had to find a team that could help us source the best talent to give the business a chance. This has been a very, very difficult process. It's not an easy business to run. And so from that lens, Veridity's been great with helping us source some great talent. But yeah, they'll be helping us with our job fairs. They help us identify Matt and Sam, who both have cannabis experience. And they're on the call as well if, Brett, you want to speak to what you guys do.
Sure, thank you for the time. It's excellent working with Low Key. I started this company about 3.5 years ago to have a local service. There wasn't a staffing company here in Massachusetts, really, with that local support. What I did was hire people from the industry that may have been underpaid and undervalued, and taught them the recruiting side of it so that we can go in and design org charts organically and look at what pre-revenue spend is, what you would need to fund, what your burn rate is, And just include the host community agreement, your diversity plan, and our hiring from the top down. Local job fairs, sourcing locally, and really doing our best to exceed those goals from the beginning, but be aware of what the costs associated with staff will be, and utilize excellent services like Westcon for security, making smart moves and bringing in our network to really support those that work with us. I've worked with about 50 accounts in the state. A lot start with retail, some cultivation, and started with some of the first social equity applicants and exceeding those goals, including Western Front, Trade Routes, Joint Operations. So we're always looking to help where we can. And it's been a pleasure working with the team at Low-Key.
Sorry, just to dig in just a little bit, so the service you provide is you're doing recruitment
Yes.
and hiring, and who is doing are you providing skill training as well?
The training is done throughout the process from the team that we provide and potentially consultants. We're not providing the training for that. They go through the responsible vendor training courses and start 2 to 3 weeks before opening. We're training on POS, everything from your SOPs, and all of that is done internally. We provide the people where it makes sense.
Okay, and do you provide the policies around worker voice or worker input or those kinds of things as well?
That is also
Or who
done
sets
internally.
that policy?
That would be internally at Low-Key.
I'm sorry, that would be
Internally, yes.
And what are those policies?
If you want to touch on those at Low-Key, that wouldn't be something that we handle.
Oh, well, yeah, I'm asking Low-Key. What are those policies around worker voice and worker input?
So I believe that worker input is a big part of creating an environment that everybody wants to be a part of. So I believe that having an open door policy at any time, listening to anything that anyone has to say and using that input to create a better business. Because at the end of the day, we don't know everything about everything. There's outside views that can come from anyone. And we can have suggestion boxes, anything of those sorts, but we're definitely big on listening to outside voices. Crowdsourcing is the way to get things done.
And have you established a whistleblower policy already in your business?
No, we have not as of yet. As we're still kind of formulating our game plan, relative to our internal SOPs. The first one is we're probably about 2 to 3 months out from completion of the project. So we're still developing that.
Okay, thank you. I just want to encourage all the applicants to look at some of the how we score our applicants. It will be helpful to sort of look at that and see at least what some of us are looking for in terms of employment plan. That's why we established that score sheet. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do any of the commissioners have any follow-up questions? Nope. We will move to public testimony, beginning with elected officials or the representatives.
Desmond, Jake Ramones here.
All right, Jake.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. Jake Lacey from the Office of Neighborhood Services. Our office hosted a community meeting on April 25th, where questions were addressed over what we've discussed so far this afternoon regarding the park, traffic on Washington Street, etc. Jeff and team have also met with many civic groups since then, including the West Roxbury Civic Improvement Association, which oversees the Washington Street corridor in West Roxbury. They received a full letter of support from the West Roxbury Civic Improvement Association. And on April 19th, at the West Roxbury Neighborhood Council, the council voted 5-1 in support of the project as well. We have received both letters of support and opposition for the proposal, and at this time, we defer decision to the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Jake. Are there any other elected officials or representatives that would like to speak? Seeing none, we will move to public testimony. First name I have is Derek Bona.
Can you all hear me?
Yep, please state your name, address, and any affiliation.
Sure. Derek Bonner from Waltham, Massachusetts, 356 Lincoln Street, Apartment 5. Affiliated with Kings Amongst Kings, which is Jeff's nonprofit. Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the board for the time, and thank you all on the call for hearing me out really quick. Just wanted to speak on behalf of Low Key and the great work that Jeff, Rob, Mark, and the whole team have done. Just being on the back, and I'm also an investor. Just seeing how they've gone through the first process with the Dorchester location. It's a very, very hard process, difficult. They've had to commit so much to the community, and they've done that with flying colors. I'm a member of the King Amongst Kings community as well, and just seeing Jeff also create that from scratch to give back to the community. I've learned through real estate from him and Rob, from their fix and flips that they've done to give back to the community. These are very high value CEOs, and West Roxbury would be a great community for them. You know, they'll add more value, the Low Key team will. I mean, even giving me somebody, you know, and being an African American, there's not really many investment opportunities in businesses like this. So all they've done is give back to the communities and give back to everything that they've done for, you know, for the business and for everybody. So I'm just wanting to speak really highly of them. They're great people, and Low Key would be a great addition to the West Roxbury community. And, you know, you can bet on them. If you don't want to bet on the business, bet on them. They're great people, and I just wanted to, you know, say a quick sentiment to them. And you know, I'm really proud to be a part of the team. And thank you all for the time, and live low key.
Thank you. The next name I have is Mario.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mario Perez. I'm a West Roxbury resident. I actually live right between where this location would be and the park that we've been talking about. And I could just, you know, speak to the fact that I have seen representatives from Low Key out in the neighborhood, knocking doors, handing out leaflets, doing their due diligence, sending out emails, participate in the community meeting that was just mentioned a couple of minutes ago. And they've been organized all throughout that and answering questions. And so I just wanted to, you know, step in today just to voice my support for them. And yeah, I think all the concerns that have been raised in the past have been answered pretty thoroughly in previous meetings as well. And so just thank you for the space, and I wish Low Key the best of wishes with the rest of the process.
Thank you, Mario. Appreciate it.
Thank you. The next name I have is Alex Edwards.
How you doing today?
Hi.
Great. I just want to say, you know, I support these two. I support the business and these two guys. They're phenomenal people. I'm excited about the employment opportunity. You know, a lot of employers, the retirement fund, you got health benefits, but with this company, you get wealth benefits. And I think that's extremely important. Once they have everything, all the box check, I think this is a business model that I think a lot of companies are going to follow. I'm from Dorchester. I live in Dorchester, and I run a real estate brokerage. So some will say Rob is my competition, but I'm here today to speak on my company's behalf and the city behalf. I think this is a great model. Once they check all the boxes, I think this is a great model that we all should follow. Health, retirement, and wealth building, and they got it all in one. So I'm excited. Honestly, this is a great idea, and I take my hat off to Low Key.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next person I have is Brittany Dos Santos.
Hi, I'm Brittany. I'm a college student, and I'm just from Dorchester and Roxbury. And I just wanted to say that I'm only here for like an assignment, but after hearing about like your company, I just think that you guys care a lot about your community, and just from being here, I think that's like really nice. And I think a lot of companies right now are just really focused on money, and it just doesn't sound like that's all you guys care about. And I just wanted to say that. I know I don't really I don't know, I'm not like in business or anything. I just needed to do this for like a summer course assignment, but I appreciate your guys' company, and I hope you guys like do well.
Thank you, Brittany.
Thank you, Brittany. We appreciate it.
I see Cleon Byron has his hand raised.
Hello, guys. I just wanted to call in and give my support. And let me say hello to all the commissioners. Hello, everyone. Thank you for your time. I just wanted to say that I support Jeff and Rob I see all the work that they do. I also am a member of Kings Amongst Kings. I go to the meetings and I get a lot of value out of a lot of the things that they put together. I consider them really fine men and gentlemen, and I know that they're going to do a lot for the community. So I just want to share my support.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak on this proposal?
Hello, my name is David Scouten. I am a investor and marketing advisor with Low Key Dispensary. I currently live in Everett. I'm extremely excited about the opportunity at hand in terms of the job creation and wealth building for its employees. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, and since I've landed in Boston, I've worked for several Fortune 500 companies, and none of them have had the intuition to build its employees in terms of wealth building and giving them the keys to buy real estate and manage real estate and things of that nature. I recently had a child and I will be buying a house within the next year. And I'm even looking forward to the opportunity to learn from Jeff and Rob about the first time buying process and how to source a valuable deal for me and my family. So I think West Roxbury is going to have a valuable resource on their hands with a CEO and a COO that are bringing such a wealth of knowledge in the real estate space. And on the cannabis side, I think the cannabis industry is growing rapidly. This is going to empower the West Roxbury residents to be a part of a growing industry that hopefully one day is federally legal. So it's going to be able to take the West Roxbury residents to the world and be competitive in one of the fastest growing industries in America.
Thank you. Celia Williams would like to add a comment. Celia?
Do I have it? Did I do
Yep,
it?
you're there. Yep, you're there.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, commissioners and everyone on the call. Thank you for the floor. I think I commend everything that Low Key is doing. I'm Celia Williams. I'm the manager of equity and strategic partnerships here at the Cannabis Control Commission. I have a variety of different initiatives that I feel are super important, especially when businesses are starting up. I think with regard, I did have a question. I commend everything that Low Key has said, especially your wealth management program, investing in your community, or the diversity of including diversity within that community. My question is with hiring practices. So how workforce development, I'm trying to create resources for people that either have adverse queries or ensuring that employers are advocating for people or individuals trying to get into the enter the industry or re-enter the industry from the legacy market, and how you see that you would advocate for those types of recruit or advocate for those individuals within the cannabis space.
Well, that's a great question. So, we currently run a real estate brokerage firm, and I can say right now we've hired 4 individuals with felony convictions from the community. It's something that, is near and dear to Jeff and I's heart. We both grew up in Dorchester. We have friends and family who've been through the criminal justice system. And because of that, we also know that there are still very talented individuals who need a little bit of support to kind of get to a place where, they'll be ready to work with us and be able to add value and to transform and transition from where they were to where they want to be. So I know there's one group Jeff has been speaking with that we mentioned earlier who actually reaches out to folks who have felony convictions and teach them the skills to be successful in cannabis. So that's really, I think, going to be the avenue. Jeff, what's the name of the organization?
Mass Cultivated.
Yeah, so Mass Cultivated, their whole initiative is predicated on them finding folks who have felony convictions who want to get into this cannabis industry to kind of help them get the skills, get the training, and put them in a program that positions them so that when they come to us, they've kind of got a leg up on your average person coming to work with us because they've got that training And so now, we can kind of just jump right into getting them down to business. They can go in and work and, work on the plant touching tasks, in the cultivation facilities we're working on. And the same goes in the dispensary. They'll have a stronger knowledge base than the average person coming to us off the street. So we really think partnerships like this are going to help us continue to push the initiatives we've already been engaging in since, we've been working in the real estate space, and we're going to bring it right to cannabis.
Awesome. I like that. I'm gonna hold you guys to that. I think that the second part of my question is that your primary recruiting comes from the other gentleman, right? So yes, Brett.
Ms. Williams, can I just jump in? Where are you from and where do you live? And are you here to testify in support or opposition? I'm just confused. We're looking for public testimony and support, and I'm not aware of who you're representing.
So I'm representing maybe the public. Where I come from is the Cannabis Control Commission. I'm the manager of
you didn't tell us
equity.
that.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, she did.
Sorry, I missed it. Usually we don't have outside people ask questions of our applicants, but I will let it continue.
It's okay.
Next time, if you just give us a heads up before the hearing. I didn't know you were joining us today.
I asked how I would ask a question and it said public comment was coming. So I did ask how I could participate, but it's okay. I don't have any further questions.
Thank you. I mean, one thing I'll add is, so Viridi is helping us kind of set up the job fairs. They're recruiting people with cannabis experience, but we're also reaching out to folks directly. So we do a lot of advertising on social media, flyers in the neighborhood, local community centers, working with civic groups for folks to send us people. We're from Boston. So people, they know us. They're calling, hey, I'm looking for a job. I mean, Jeff and I recently interviewed one of my cousins to kind of help us out, with some things. And so, just word of mouth and through flyering and advertising, in addition to Viridity's efforts, we're going to be able to get the word out there to folks, kind of across the areas we're trying to work in.
Thank you so much.
Can
We're also hosting a job fair next month in Dorchester as well, to hire people from the community. So again, our target is, like as we mentioned, is to hire people from the community that can easily just walk to work. So that's our goal is to hire people from our community.
Thank you. I appreciate the clarification.
No problem. Thank you for the question.
Thank you. I see Tim has his hand raised.
So I guess this is a perfect time to introduce myself. My name is Tim Deal, and I'm formerly incarcerated of 19 and a half years and was blessed with the opportunity to work with Rob Nichols here at Boston Realty Funding since last August, and work with Jeff representing private lender and helping just kind of educate individuals about fix and flips and going through that whole process. I also work with TPP, which is the Transformational Prison Project organization that was started at MCI Norfolk. And so I kind of position myself as like kind of an inside man conduit, where a big part of our program is helping with reentry. And so I will be directly connected with Rob, with Jeff, and low key, and trying to find people who are really interested, and driven in trying to find work. And so I would just listen to everybody talking about people with Corey challenge issues. I'm currently serving a life parole sentence and going for my license on Monday. And so, I've really been blessed and been a huge benefit of these gentlemen here, because there's never been a life parolee to go for a license in real estate. I will be the first. And so I'm just trying to make sure that I'm not the last. And so I just wanted to say that, and I really congratulate these gentlemen for bringing this to my community. I'm born and raised from Dorchester myself. And, so I'm just here to help. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to testify in regards to this proposal?
Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, Tim.
And this is Kyle Smith, counsel for the applicant. Again, I just want to note that the applicants do have another matter before you today. So I think that even though we are taking up a lot of your time, this testimony will continue to be relevant for them in their next matter. And hopefully that can be much more succinct and truncated. So just appreciate you lending the time to other people to testify.
Thank you. I don't see any additional hands raised. So the board will take this matter under advisement. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board.
Thank you.
Madam Chair. Thank you, board.
The next matter we have is Cannabis Healing LLC, Cannabis Healing DBA. The proposed license premise is 4 Neptune Road, East Boston. This is a recreational cannabis dispensary license. The proposed hours are 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. 7 days a week. This is a non-equity applicant. The initial application was filed March 29th, 2021. The inspectional services filing was April 16th, 2021, and the community meeting was April 6th, 2022. Who is present on behalf of the licensee? Cannabis Healing? I don't see the applicant or anyone from their team on. All right, we'll do a second call for this one. We'll move on to the next matter. Which is low key. So the next matter is Low Key Cultivation LLC. The proposed license premise is 48 to 54 Walter Street, Hyde Park. This is a cultivation license. The proposed hours are 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. 7 days a week. This is an equity applicant. The initial application was filed January 13th, 2022. With inspectional services, it was filed November 19th, 2021, and the community meeting was held April 28th, 2022. Before we begin with the presentation, I will ask Leah to testify in regards to the equity certification.
Thanks, Jasmine. This may seem a little repetitive, but this is a different location and different application. So our office was able to certify Low Key Cultivation LLC as an equity applicant through the documentation submitted by the applicant. Jeff Simillian is the CEO and the 80% beneficial interest holder of Low Key Cultivation LLC, exceeding the 51% ownership interest threshold set forth in the ordinance. Mr. Simillian meets the following criteria. He fits the criteria of residing in Boston for at least the past 7 years. He submitted copies of utility bills, lease agreements, and financial statements that verify his Boston addresses from at least 2013 in Dorchester, Roxbury, and in Hyde Park. Secondly, Mr. Simillian has self-identified as Black, which satisfies the criteria of a person who is of Black, African American, Hispanic, Latino, Asian, or Indigenous descent. And finally, Mr. Simillian has been certified by the CCC as an economic empowerment applicant on May 8th, 2018, and has lived in the city of Boston since at least 2013. Are there any questions about this certification?
Thank you, Leah. And who was present on behalf of the licensee? I'm assuming the same team. All right.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
You can share your screen and begin.
Yes, so here we are once again. Low Key Cultivation, which is owned by me and Rob, as mentioned. Again, our goal is to be a sustainable brand in Boston to not only provide opportunities in cannabis, but also be vertically integrated and to provide opportunities on the retail side and also on the cultivation side as well. Pretty much have the same team, as I had mentioned, who we are, what our intentions are. I'll just jump right into the property, which is located at 54 Walter Street in Hyde Park. We are strictly applying for a cultivation site, and our goal is to cultivate there, package it, and wholesale to ourselves and other retail stores again. So we are currently applying for for a licensing here. The building meets all the criteria. There is no school or churches and within a mile. So this is currently the floor plan. The building is 24. This is a tier 3 cultivation. The building is 24,000 square feet, which is tier 3 is up to 2,000 square feet. Our goal is to cultivate craft cannabis, and also to provide up to 60 jobs or more within the Hyde Park community. Position that we have pretty much available. We have a head cultivator currently, but we are planning on bringing in, other cultivators, technicians, post-harvest technicians, sales managers, trimmers, inventory managers, quality managers, a bunch of different positions that would necessarily require, experience in the cannabis industry, and also with the help of mass cultivated, which already provided other opportunity for individuals and in the industry. Again, we'll talk about the positive community impact. I'll pass it on to Rob to speak about that as well. And then our chief of security, Mark, will speak as well. Rob?
Thank you, Jeff, and hello again, Madam Chairwoman, members of the board. So similar to the Low Key 2 location, we're looking to create a community board specific to Hyde Park. We've had a lot of interaction with them. We recently participated in an Aponza River cleanup on a Saturday, just to really show our commitment to the community and help them out. So we had 5 members from Low Key, 6 members from Low Key that came out, who several are on the call. David, Matt, and a few of the team here, and Jeff and myself went out there. But in addition to that, we are going to set up a community board, and we're committed to also providing $250,000 over a 5-year period. Again, that money will be directed by the community members on an annualized basis. Same thing, we really want to use our skills to empower folks to build wealth. So we're creating real estate coaching and first-time home buyer courses to help them with the process of building wealth and buying a home, and really just overall participation in the community. And then obviously the 3% community impact fee will still apply here as well. And that pretty much rounds out our community impact plan. You want to jump to the next slide, Jeff? Yep. So, hours of operations, I know, Jeff, you had said, 10 p.m., but because it's a cultivation facility, it will require us to have someone there 24 hours a day. So it won't be any crazy vehicles or anything coming in after hours, after normal business hours, but we will have to have someone on site to ensure that the product, there's no catastrophic failures of the systems, and that emergency SOPs and protocols can be followed in the event that something does happen. So it will be operational 24/7, but with a very, very limited staff overnights to ensure that we're not disrupting the local community. Mark, do you want to speak to security?
Yeah, I think the most important thing that we can extrapolate from this is different than a retail store where, you have customers coming in and out. Virtually it's employees that are there working. And, more importantly, this is within a community area where there's people that are living, going to sleep at night and everything else. So we're going to be very specific about, what kind of terms of traffic hours and so forth. But in terms of our security, it's interior of making sure that this place is secure 24 hours a day. And making sure that there is no disruption of people coming, in terms of the traffic, in terms of deliveries and stuff like that, for the most part. And like I said, it's much more different than a retail store, than this actually being a hard facility in terms of cultivation.
Yeah, one of the things to support what Mark is stating, when we had one of our community meetings, they had mentioned that there was a shooting and there's a lot of illicit activity they believe is taking place in the evenings at this location. And, they were happy to know that we're coming in, it's going to be well lit. There will be security on site. So, they were very supportive in the sense that they felt that us being there would help curtail and eliminate a lot of what's happening when the sun goes down in this area, just because it's kind of off the beaten path back there. So, I think, what Mark is speaking to there on the security front, the community was appreciative and they agree that it's better to have us there versus kind of leaving it, as it stands.
Yeah, and I would just add that, the high visibility of some, the police department understanding that this is going to be a cultivation center that's going to be there, us working with the police department and the community and so forth, and understanding that we don't want to disrupt anybody's lives that's living in this community. Like I said, This isn't operational where people are coming through in terms of buying marijuana and so forth. This is cultivation of a plant. And we just want to make sure that the facility itself is secure and we're not being disruptive to the neighbors that are in the community.
And this is Kyle Smith, counsel for the applicant. Just a brief note as it relates to parking and transportation. And otherwise, we are in, for anybody that knows the site, we are in very, very close proximity to the Fairmount train station to hopefully facilitate people taking public transit to and from work. So just want to make that as a brief note.
Thank you, Kyle. Jeff, you want to jump to the final slides, the next slides after security?
Well, so some of those things that, the frequently asked questions that I wanted to cover, I know some of those questions has been quickly covered. As far as, will we have cameras? I have Black Lab alarm on the call as well. So they recently provided us a, camera plan. So I just want to be able to show you guys a security camera plan. I don't know if Todd is on the call if you want to say something on this, but so these are the cameras that's going to be in the facility to ensure that every single corner of the facility is covered per CCC SOP laws. So all these little yellow spots here are all the security cameras that's going to be inside a facility, and we're going to keep track of.
2-minute warning.
Yes, I'm on the call, Jeff, and Madam Chair or Commissioners, if you have any questions, I'm more than happy to provide answers. I've done a number of facilities, both on the recreational side and grow facilities. And this is in full compliance with the guidelines under the CMR 935 on the requirements.
Yeah, we also, frequently asked questions as far as water usage, electric usage. Again, we talked about, recapturing rainwater. That's something, possibility of things that we want to do. Solar systems, we talked about those things as well. But ideally, our plan currently is we talking to a company named Agrify to build our system with basically hydroponics. Our head cultivator is on the call as well. So if there's any questions, he could go over those, into details. But again, we plan on doing deliveries, at different times of the week. So it's not going to be huge trucks that's going to be coming in. So it's going to be the E3 500 vans, sprinters that's going to be coming in and out, unmarked vans is going to be making those deliveries. So again, our part is to really make sure that we are protecting ourselves and we are protecting the community to ensure that everybody is safe.
And that concludes the presentation.
Thank you. Chairwoman Joyce, do you have any questions for the applicants?
I have one question. In the board memo, it states that you're going to have 60 to 80 full-time employees. So can you break down for me, like roughly, I don't need exact numbers, but during like regular business hours, how many people are working there at a time? Like how many compared to how many people work like overnight? I'm just curious the impact to the neighborhood.
As a head cultivator, I have something to say on that one. As far as employees that's needed in the building, as far as during the daytime hours, it depends on the season. So if we're harvesting where we need large amounts of people during those daytime hours, we will probably have maybe 20 to 30 people at a time. But during the regular season, as far as the flowering and all that, the most I would say it would be is 15 is a minimum. I would say 20 tops, depending on if I need people to clean down, the facility so that we're staying on time when everything, as far as making sure that there's no violations that we're crossing as far as how we're able to cultivate.
And that will only suffice, for for his cultivation team. Then again, we also need management, vendors and other staffing that will be on the facility. So that's just basically the touch point, the plant touching position that he's referring to.
Okay, so that's very interesting. Thank you. I never really could understand all that. So in addition to the harvesting people or the cultivation people, you'll then have an operations team always on site?
Absolutely, yes. Operations and security always on site.
Security always.
24 hours.
Security will be on site all the time.
I guess what I was getting at, other than the security at night, are any of those cultivating team members, do they work overnight shifts or anything?
No.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Commissioner Holmes, do you have any questions?
Yeah, just one. I am kind of familiar with that area, so I know that building. Will your vans, are you going to make a garage? Are your vans going to be stored inside that area, or are you going to leave them out in like the parking lot area? How are you going to do your vans or your trucks?
Everything will be gated.
Okay, but I mean, is there a way you can like make an indoor garage? As I know you have a gate, but are you taking up that whole warehouse?
Yes.
I guess I don't even know what it takes to do a cultivation, so maybe that space, but I was wondering if there was just space to, like, maybe when you're delivering, you can you back the trucks in like a Sally port or something.
I would assume that you're asking to not be seen doing any transportation moving out of the building into the vans. So
Right.
if that's a concern, the way that they have the dock, as I've seen, is that they have a loading dock. So if the van's able to back up like any other loaded van, it should be able to just seal off where people on the inside should be able to load right into the truck.
Yep, that's exactly what I was asking. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Commissioner Smith, do you have any questions?
Thanks, Jasmine. I want to go back to the environmental impacts. So from what I've read, the disposal of cannabis and stuff like that there's a huge environmental impact. So I want to talk a little bit more about what are your plans around disposal of waste and how are you planning to protect the environment around there?
Well, as far as the plans of stuff is what I envision, I mean, I feel like there's a lot of technologies that we're able to utilize, and we're still reviewing a lot of stuff that we can go about doing. But the traditional way is like Jeff mentioned, is we can catch rainwater to try to save money on the water. As far as the energy goes, we would like to be invested into solar panels because I feel like it's going to help as far as with our electrical bill, but overall, it's not consuming as much electricity. As far as the waste goes, because of the way that these systems are designed, it's not that much waste that's being used, depending on how we're growing. Now, if we was growing as far as straight out of the soil, there would be more waste that's being used. Being that we're using a certain type of system that uses Rockwell, we're really just having more leaf left over. My plan, I feel like I want to use is enzymes, if you're familiar with them. So if we're able to have an area that we can have on our facility area where it's organically eating itself, it takes care of a lot of our waste through time, if we're able to do that. So we're still going over the works as far as those plans. Right now, we just want to see if we're able to be able to get the building so that we can make plans for the building.
Okay, all right, thank you so much.
Commissioner Sankian?
Yeah, I have a few questions, but just one thing you just said. What do you mean get the building? You mean get the license?
Yeah, we don't want to make plans for certain stuff that we're not able to be qualified for. So I don't know exactly what is the guidelines as far as how we're going to be able to use our waste or utilize that. So I can't formulate a plan until we feel like we have the right people in place for that. So we're still in the hiring process to try to find the right people to talk to about those environmental things. There are some people that we are in contact with, but we're still in works of that.
And so you're leased the building or you bought the building?
I can leave Jeff to speak on those. I'm only referring to as far as the cultivation part.
Yes, it's leased with with the first right of refusal to purchase. We wanted an option to purchase with this tough negotiator.
Okay. And just back to the environmental impact, and I think, in like with Commissioner Smith, and I fully understand that you're still in the hiring process, retrofitting. If this does go through, there's going to be a lot of work to do to get it up and running. I'd love to see some kind of commitment to minimal environmental impact, and whether that could come along with any kind of goals or percentages. I'm not sure. It's not an expertise area of mine, but I just know that that this is a place where, as we start to grow, I would love as we start to have more of these cultivation areas, because I do love having cultivation within the city. I think it's a really great economic impact, particularly for our equity applicants. So, but I do want to be very mindful of the environmental impacts that come along with that, and also in sort of retrofitting areas and spaces that probably, I don't want to say anything bad about who was there previously, but probably didn't have, strong environmental qualifications in the work that they did. And so how that has impacted the water and so forth. So just, some form of commitment to really just have a minimal carbon footprint, and just laying out how you would do that. I think it would be important and something to revisit when you once you're up and running and you come and to renew the license. It's something that I think would be great for this body to monitor. But I just again support having urban farming, having urban cultivation within the city. I think it's a great idea. In terms of delivery, so the idea is delivery straight to your stores, other stores as well. And I'm assuming there's no direct delivery. Well, you'd have to apply for a license for direct delivery to consumers, but that's not a plan at this time, right?
No, so it'll just be to our stores.
Okay.
Plan on having 2 stores right now, and plan on expanding and applying for 3rd stores in due time, and also potentially wholesaling to other economic empowerment retailers that we have relationships with as well.
And the idea would be for everything to come from your plant, or a combination of, would you do a full line of products, or do you see?
Yeah, we'll have a full line of products, but obviously, in business, we'll carry other, cultivators products as well.
Yep.
But we have a whole line of our products that we plan on releasing as well, from the likes of berry.
I have a silly question. For the products, do you within the manufacturer, so you grow there, do you also say like create the products so it can be delivered right to the retail, or is it at the retail store where they're like, if they're doing like, I don't know, like singles or what have you, like is that something that gets done at the facility, or is that something that gets done at the retail shop?
So we'll just be doing, it depends. We'll be doing wholesaling. So some people could just buy a pound from us, and some people could just buy pre-rolls from us. But currently our goal is to just wholesale. And
And it goes, okay.
Yep. It wasn't a silly questions, actually.
Thank you.
And to answer your question about environmental impact, I mean, I think the key to this, solving problems like this, is looking at where goals are aligned. And I believe the cost of doing business in the city is much higher than doing it in the western part of the state. And this is something Jeff and I talked about, but we're committed to the city of Boston. We want to have a positive impact here. We want to hire locally. And in doing that, we also want to have a positive impact environmentally. So, we are definitely going to be investing in solar panels. We've all been talking about, harnessing rainwater and looking at systems where we can get rainwater to really offset the uses of water. And then obviously we're going to do our best to find the best way to dispose of all of the cannabis with the lowest environmental impact, as Barry had mentioned, using enzymes and things of that nature. So we are committed to that, and it's mutually beneficial for us to commit to that. So just wanted to add that as well.
Commissioner Wobbles, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I do. We get these board memos that describe your application, and I'm sorry, we don't always have time to read all of the applications, but the memos are very helpful from the staff. And they're 2 different businesses today, and it's hard not to compare them, that they're very similar, they're almost the same application, but they're 2 different businesses. So I just want to hear more about what your plan, like these are 2 very different workforces. That means the skills in retail are very different than the skills of cultivation, as you all know. But there's no meat on the bones of like understanding what's the retention plan, the recruitment plan, the hiring plan, given that these are vastly different workforces and skills.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that the key is, again, is mutually beneficial for us to really be thorough about how we go about recruiting folks, how we go about training folks, because you are going to require skilled labor for this. So I am a licensed contractor as well. I've been working in the construction industry for over 10 years. And so I think this is more similar to the work I've done in that space. Obviously, we hire subs, but we have our own crews as well that work directly for us on payroll. So, we're really going to try to partner with local groups. As we had mentioned before, Mass Cultivated is probably the ideal partner for us, primarily because of their focus on sourcing folks who may have query issues and allowing them to kind of return to the workforce. But more importantly, they're giving them the skill-specific training so that when they come to our cultivation facility, they've got more knowledge than your average person coming in. And then also, we are going to have to bring in some folks, such as Barry, who's on the call now, who has a team of his own, who is an experienced cultivator to really lead the charge on hiring folks that he knows can get the job done. But it's going to take different approaches, and it's not a perfect science; it's an art. And we're going to do our best to be thorough in our process and work out the kinks as we go along. But it's a new business for all of us, statewide. So we still are ironing out the details, but we're going to do our best to find the best candidates in a diverse workforce who are skilled to be able to make this a success.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I would just encourage you to actually put that in your application, what those plans are to do that, so that we understand how it's going to be done. That would be very helpful because the applications look virtually the same and they're very different businesses.
Absolutely. No, and I appreciate that feedback. It is, I agree, it is absolutely different.
Any other?
Sorry, Commissioner Lombos, just to briefly, chime in on as far as the workforce is concerned, we do have potentially a first location to be operational come this calendar year, for which, these applicants, not wishing that they aren't successful, but clearly there obviously is growing pains, and they can learn from that to then make their prospective other locations more successful. So, they're committed to learning and implementing new change to help, I think, to address some of your concerns as far as education, training, et cetera.
Yeah, I mean, clearly you have expertise. Barry seems to know his field, and there's people on here, obviously. I just would love to see it in the application, to show that there's a robust employment plan that includes retention, recruitment, career paths, those kinds of things that we like to see in applications, so we can look at them in a way. This is part of the things that we look at when we're looking at applicants. Again, I would encourage you to look at the score sheet so you understand what it is that we're looking for.
No, that's great feedback.
Thank you.
Do any other commissioners have any follow-up questions?
No, but I would like to add to Darlene and the board and the commissioners and so forth. And I say this unabashedly and unapologetically, as somebody as a minority-owned business and has been in business for 22 years and has worked and operated in the city of Boston, from churches to education to major development, real estate development projects and so forth, and of course now cannabis. And I say this and I say it again, to see these two young African-American men attack this opportunity in terms of the cannabis space, and having an opportunity for us, my team, we have approximately around 75 employees. A majority of those people are African-American and Latino, giving these people opportunities to work. So if you all know, if you look at any major high rise in downtown Boston or or in a lot of communities, you'll see, African Americans and Latinos that are, kind of the line level kind of employees, those people that are security officers. But the people that are actually writing the check, myself and my business partner that actually own a company, we don't really get an opportunity to work with people that look like Jeff and Rob, that are really committed to the community. And so I just want to say to you that, Darlene, that we're going to do our best in terms of showcasing, who we are in terms of commitment. But, I'm one of those factual characters that are in that employment plan in terms of the people that we hire and that we're committed to and to the community, and have been for the last 22 years. That's just one of my thoughts.
Thank you, Mark.
Any other additional comments from the commissioners?
Thank you, Mark.
No. All right, we will move to public testimony, beginning with elected officials or their representatives.
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board, Connor Newman with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. At this time, the Mayor's Office would like to defer judgment to the board. Some background information on the community process. Our office held a community meeting on April 19th, where 48 people were in attendance. As you heard from the applicant, a big topic of discussion was security and safety concerns. In that particular area, there has been some crime and some other incidences. The applicant pledged by working with the police, by adding more security measures around the property, would increase more eyes on that area, would alleviate a lot of those concerns. We had other concerns raised regarding just congestion in the area and some environmental concerns. There were also a lot of members of the community that were on that spoke in support, citing that this is a great opportunity to bring more jobs to the area, as well as increasing the social equity in Hyde Park. We forwarded letters of support and letters of opposition to the board, which you guys should have on file. The applicant received over 150 signatures from business owners, residents, and community leaders in that area. And our office also received indications of support from State Rep Rob Consalvo, City Councilor at Large Ruth Z, Councilor Ricardo Arroyo, State Rep China Tyler, City Councilor Julia Mejia, Melanie Day, who's the president of the HB Central River, the Hyde Park Neighborhood Association also sent a letter of support, and other residents and community stakeholders. With that information, we defer to the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Connor. Any other elected officials or their representatives?
Good afternoon, Chair, members of the board. Jordan here from Councilor Ricardo Arroyo's office. I just want to go on the record in support of this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you, Jordan. Emily has her hand raised.
Hi, thank you. Madam Chair, members of the board, we would also, our Councilor Louis Jen's office would also like to go on record in support. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily. Any other elected officials or their representatives? So none, we'll move to public testimony. Tito Jackson has his hand raised.
Thank you so much, Madam Chair, as well as this august body of board members. I'm very, very excited to support Jeff as well as Rob on this endeavor. I plan on buying their product and supporting these brothers. I think it's so significant that they are building a vertically integrated company. And what does that mean in our world? Most of the companies that we deal with that are owned by people of color either have one of the components of the cannabis industry, a store, possibly a manufacturing, or a cultivation. What they are attempting to do is amazing, and also it's new for people of color in the state of Massachusetts. It is so critical that we support this type of growth in the city. We don't have many cultivations in the city of Boston. And I would note that this also gives people what I like to refer to some transferable skills. There are people in the legacy marketplace who have built skills over the course of time but risk their freedom. What is now being presented is an opportunity for them to use their skill sets and actually do well for themselves as well as their family. And I also know that Jeff and Rob have commitments to helping people purchase their own homes. That's what they're doing in their other business. I would assume that would transfer over here. And so I'm just emphatically in support of the great work that these brothers are doing. And I can't wait to stock their products on my shelf down at 150 State Street. Thank you so much for this opportunity. And brothers, I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, Tito.
Appreciate it, Tito. Thank you very much.
Proud of you too.
Is there anybody else that would like to speak in regards to this proposal? Derek, you have your hand raised. You're on mute.
Hi, everybody, back again. Commissioner, members of the board, appreciate you all. Just wanted to again speak on behalf of Low Key. Echoing Tito's point, being a vertically integrated businesses, I don't want to skip over how major that is for the city, and especially for being a majority minority company. This is a Black-owned business, and It's just an honor to be a part of the company and see how far that, Jeff and Rob have come. This is an amazing opportunity. They've already dedicated, their resources back to the community, and this is no different. Jobs are coming back into the Hyde Park community, and it's just an amazing opportunity. And I'm so proud of them. So proud for the opportunities they gave me to, help with Kings Amongst Kings and just be a supporter of Low Key, and just seeing how far they've come and just seeing how, hard this process has been to be here. Just to even be able to give this presentation is an honor, and so proud of Low Key, and hope you all will take that into consideration. Thank you. Big support for Low Key.
Thanks, Larry.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that would like to speak in regards to this proposal? Seeing no one additional, the board will take this matter under advisement. Thank you.
Thank you all. I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you very much.
We're going to do a second call. I believe Cannabis Healing is now on. Cannabis Healing?
Yes, we're here.
Yes, we're here. We apologize for the technical difficulties at the apartment.
That's okay. I already read you guys' information into the record. Are you guys ready to move forward with your presentation?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
About to share our screen.
Yes.
Okay, can you hear us?
Yes.
Good afternoon. Thanks for you guys for allowing us to do this presentation. We believe in what we're doing, and we really appreciate this opportunity. Sorry you can't actually see us, but we're going to move forward. Thank you so very much. Cannabis Healing is a family business owned by Mother Wanda Jones and son Brian Jones II. Our education is a BBA, Pine Meadow College, and an MBA, University of Phoenix in Business Administration. We both prepared for this business for years and did our due diligence. We hope to showcase the benefits we can provide to the city of East Boston and the state of Massachusetts. Our location shall be at 4 Neptune Road, East Boston, Mass. 02128. We signed a lease for 10 years, paying building rent each month since April 2021. Why we chose this location? 5 minutes away from Logan Airport, 4 minutes away from Woodland Island Station, meeting zone requirements and beautiful scenery.
Here's just a picture of our graphic designs by STA Design. We have a pickup window outside, which I will get into further on in the conversation to discuss. But as you can see, we have beautiful colors. We have white, purple, and gold. We really love the location. We're right there by the train station. We really believe that we're going to be an asset to the community, and everything that we want to provide. We really feel like it will be a great asset. Here's just a picture of the inside of our dispensary. We're going to have an outside security guard by the pickup window, and we'll also have a security guard inside as well. And we'll also have overnight security as well to protect our establishment. As you can see, our professional is very prestige, very professional. We really took a lot of time in these designs, and we're really proud to move forward in this endeavor.
Cannabis Healing is a family minority-owned cannabis company based in Massachusetts. Our company focuses on retail sales of recreational cannabis. Our main objective is to display the best cannabis products Massachusetts has to offer. Our mission is to heal our customers with premium cannabis products, hosting events, social enjoyment, and personal satisfaction. Also, heal the community with our involvement, donation, and support. Our company is dedicated to giving back and supporting our community.
For our operational plan, we want to show that we can handle the responsibilities of being a recreational cannabis retail company. As stated, we will have 2 to 3 security guards with overnight watch to protect our establishment. A security guard, a security door that requires clearance for customers to enter. Our greeter will scan the ID into the system. Once in the system, they will be buzzed through the security door to enter our dispensary. We will have viewable display walls for customers upon entry. We will have 4 registers with the product behind the glass to help customers with checkout. We will only allow cash and debit transactions only. Customers are required to exit the dispensary after purchase. Our registered CPA and resources records records each transactions for records and each payment. We have knowledgeable cannabis marketing experts to help customers feel their own version of healing. We want to prevent issues from happening by being prepared. Our hours of operation are 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., Monday through Sunday, 7 days a week. Our traffic solutions. We understand that our company has a heavy concerns with the traffic, and our plans are sufficient. We have a parking lot behind our establishment that has 8 parking spots. We will also have a traffic director outside for all our customers throughout the day. We have the MBTA subway and bus lines on Benton Street at Neptune Road to help customers with traffic. We will encourage all customers to use the transportation system, and our company will also donate to the transportation system for customers using train or subway platforms to help keep the clutter away from our establishment, from having too many vehicles. We have an Uber and Lyft drop off for pre-orders. We're going to work with the state it's a Benton Street parking lot for customers. That's a 1-minute walk from our establishment. We're going to do everything we can to add more parking spots there as well. And as stated on our pickup window, the reason for our pickup window is because we really understand the traffic solutions, and we really want to give everyone their own version of healing. So for example, if a person is in a rush, a customer is in a rush, and they feel like, well, I have a deadline, I have somewhere to go, they can place their order online using a debit transaction only. They'll place their order online. And once they get to the pickup window, a security guard will be there. They have to have their ID. They will give the ID will get scanned. And once the ID is scanned, our employees will give them their ticket number and give them their purchase so they can be on their way. If they decide that they want to come into our establishment just to get their own version of healing and talk to the employees and see the TVs and see everything that we have on the inside, they can do that as well. But we feel like the pickup window will definitely help eliminate traffic and get customers in and out in a timely fashion, especially the customers that's right off the train station. We will place, as stated, we'll place the orders online. We'll notify you when the order is ready for pickup. Verification of person at the window. A debit transaction or prepaid only are required to pick up at the window. We're also working with the city in the Eagle Hill neighborhood for side street parking. Safety and security. We will follow all city, state, and Cannabis Control Commission safety guidelines. Our plan is to have a relationship with the East Boston Police Department. Our hiring traffic director for after school hours to control traffic for young adults. Our security partners, we have former Marines, understands the priority and the safety of carrying a cannabis dispensary. We've also got in contact with another security company, Garden Capital, who does security, at Happy Valley, which is 8 minutes away from our establishment. So we're going to talk to both parties and see what's the best scenario for cannabis healing to be protected in the right way. Our company will have overnight security to protect our establishment after hours. And we plan to work with the CCC to ensure our design is efficient and safe. We will also have our windows tinted so no one can walk by and look inside our establishment. We will do our due diligence to ensure the community safety and our customers.
2 minutes left.
No smoking around the premises. We will keep our premises clean and secure, and we won't be a nuisance to the community. We have alternatives for customers to receive their product in a timely fashion to reduce traffic. Plans to prevent anyone under the age of 21. We will track everyone's purchase, prevent customers from purchasing more than what the law allows, help stop people from purchasing with intent to resell to minors, and tinted windows to prevent people from seeing inside the dispensary. Cannabis Healing will be providing jobs for the community to create a comfortable, healing, supportive, and inspiring environment to all employees. Our fashion, art, style, apparel, and brands for our businesses are appealing. All Boston residents have the first choice to working at Cannabis Healing. We will post and alert local residents about our establishment. Cannabis Healing already has minorities and women working on our team. Our company will embrace all ethnicities and host events for women and minority groups. Benefits for residents in East Boston, discounts, scholarship opportunities, and access to all events we host to better our community. Our plan for individuals with a criminal record to create a safe job that can allow someone with their background to generate money. Our community outreach plans and how we will give back to our community. Products we bring to the community are safe and purchased from CCC licensed distributors to give customers the greatest experience possible. We've just approved our apparel. We're currently collaborating with a streetwear clothing brand called Neighborhood Heroes. Our mission is to be the heroes in our neighborhood and community. We also have our own clothing brand in the realm of fashion to allow our customers to add unique pieces to their wardrobe.
That is your 10 minutes if you want to just wrap it up briefly.
Okay, just talk about giving back to the community.
Okay, the purpose of our business is we know that we want to we're going to be successful. And in our being successful, we feel though, if we are successful, everyone else can be successful as well. We have a big heart. My mom was a teacher and we both achieved our degrees. And sometimes, it's kind of hard to pay for school. And so that's why we want to make sure we give out scholarships so children that don't have the opportunity can be able to go to school as well. And then we've also established a nonprofit organization called the Jacqueline Foundation in honor of my mom, because she's a big believer in education. And through that foundation, we plan on giving back to the community. Thank you.
Thank you. Chairwoman Joyce, do you have any questions for the applicant?
Thanks, Jasmine. Just wanted to ask them, during the community process, did you discuss the takeout window with the community?
Yes, we did. We had our community outreach meeting January 26th with Eagle Hill Civic Association. We definitely explained how we're going to do the pickup window, and a couple representatives definitely stated that they feel that it will be a great asset because it will definitely help with traffic. And but obviously they stated that we had to go to the board and we have further stages to go to. But yes, we definitely stated the pickup window in our community outreach meeting.
And I know, thank you. I know in your presentation, you just stated no smoking outside. So what are you going to do to enforce that? I mean, I walk down the street every day and I see people smoking outside. I think that's a great goal. I'm just worried about the takeout window and sort of like lingering thing. Have you thought through that at all?
Yes, actually, yes, we have. So what we're going to do is be between our traffic director and our security guard, and we're going to have someone outside the establishment as well, just to also attract customers to our establishment. We made that very known to our team already, that there will be no smoking around the premises. So once they get there, once they go to the pickup window and they get their product and they're leaving, There will be no smoking on the side street, no smoking by the train station. We're going to make sure that our circle, our area, that there will be no smoking allowed. We're going to make sure that that's one of the main things, because, we have a lot of, it's children around as well, and we want to make sure that we're doing everything safe and secure.
Okay, thank you. Jasmine, I think I'm okay.
Commissioner Holmes, do you have any questions?
The chairwoman just asked it, so I'm good.
Commissioner St.
Just a quick clarity, you mentioned you had a security company, but then you said you were in negotiations with a security company. Did I misunderstand that? Or are you just in negotiations with who's doing the actual implementation of the equipment?
So basically the security company that we had, as stated, we started the process a year ago. The Marine team actually just got called back to the Army, and since they got called back to the Army, we ran into Garden Capital, and we understand all the benefits that they do, and they stated that they do security for Happy Valley, and that's 7-8 minutes from us. And they said, we're very familiar with the process, and we'll be more than happy to be you guys security guards if the Army, if the Marines don't come back in time by the time we're open for establishment. And I said that's perfectly fine. I'd rather work with someone who's already involved in this and that's already working with the establishment in East Boston. Like, we really want to make the whole community and everyone, we really want to be together. We don't want anything to be separate. We want to help all businesses. So we're definitely working with Felipe. He's the owner of Garden Capital Security. We're definitely going to be working with him to do our security.
Okay. And can you tell me a little bit more about the Jacqueline Foundation?
Yes. So the Jacqueline Foundation is in honor of my grandmother and my mother's mom. She was a teacher, and my grandmother was big on education and sports. And we know by us being a cannabis establishment, by me being a former athlete at scholarship at a Pine Manor College, I play sports, basketball and baseball. And I want, just me personally, I want to give back to a certain baseball, basketball programs. And I know by me having a cannabis establishment, having my name, Cannabis Healing, being on that isn't good. So we definitely created the Jacqueline Foundation to where we can donate to any nonprofit. We're definitely going to be donating to the Eagle Hill Civic Association. That's a nonprofit we're going to be donating to. And all the nonprofits that we're going to donate to in the city of Boston, it'll come under the Jacqueline Foundation, so they won't be Cannabis Healing. Because I love kids, like I love sports. I love going to the East Boston high school games. I love seeing them play, and I would love to give a donation and support them by buying cleats or buying any type of equipment. And I know from Cannabis Healing we wouldn't be able to do that. So that was a reason why we created the Jacqueline Foundation, so we could donate and really show our love that we want to give Boston.
Okay. I'm going to assume that Commissioner Lambos has some employment questions, so I'll defer to her on those ones. And if they're not asked, I will serve their right to ask more questions, but I needed some more clarification on some of the employment information.
That's fine.
Commissioner Smith,
you can ask them, Commissioner.
I know, but you'd probably ask them so much better than I could anyways. So I defer to you.
Me?
Yeah, go ahead, Commissioner Smith. Sure.
Thanks, Jasmine. Do you guys do a traffic study? If you can? You talked about the traffic. Do you do any kind of traffic study?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you. Can you state that one more time?
Sorry, I was asking, you talked about the traffic. Did you do any sort of traffic study?
Yes, when we first got the location, we had the demographics of the traffic, and we understand that well, obviously in Boston, anywhere from 2 to 6 is extremely packed in that area. And me and my mother, we're over there every day, just checking on the location, talking to businesses, and just talking to residents. And over this past, we started in February 2021. So over this past year and a half, we've pretty much been there every other day. So we pretty much got a good gist of traffic in the winter time and in the summertime. So it's kind of a benefit that we've been going through this process so long, because we kind of got to see exactly all seasons and, you know, what ways we can make sure that our establishment is safe, secure, and, you know, ready to be open.
So your traffic study is based on more sort of observational.
Yes, sir.
Okay. You're starting your folks at $17 an hour. How many initially you think you're going to be hiring?
We will have 2 at the pickup window, and we will have 4 to 5 in employees on the inside. So we're looking at 7 employees a day, not including our security. And most of them are gonna be part-time, because we want to give everyone the opportunity to work at Cannabis Healing. Within this year and a half, it's been so many people that's like, oh my God, Brian, what can we do to work there? Even if it's part-time, like, even if we can just get one day, help us out. So we're encouraging everyone to be part-time. Obviously, you know, me and my mother will be there full-time. And our managers will be there full-time. But as far as our employees, we encourage them to be part-time employees.
So 7 part-time employees overall.
Yes, so it'll be 14 throughout the day, because we're open from 10 to 10, so that'll be 2 shifts.
We also plan on giving incentives to our employees as well. Even though they're part-time, there's still going to be some incentives for them as well.
Can you detail that for me?
When I mean incentives, like I was saying, an opportunity for them to, if say for example, they say, okay, we want to go back to school. So what we will try to do is give some money to them to try to help them go back to school by way of buying books or something, some kind of something to help them, you know, move forward. It doesn't mean that they have to stay at Cannabis Healing all their lives, but what we're trying to do is create job opportunities and help young people in the community pursue an education if they choose to. And we're hoping that they will come back and give back to their community as they progress.
Is this similar to the scholarship thing you were talking about?
Yes, sir.
So the scholarship is more sort of buying books and that kind of thing.
Yes, employees and residents, yes.
Yes, that's for both employees and residents.
And what's the criteria for residents?
I'm sorry, can you say that one more time?
Criteria for residents to access that.
Residents, so the requirements for residents to access the scholarship fund, we will need to see grades. We'll definitely need to see grades. So like, for example, if it's a high school student, our Jacqueline Foundation, we already established to where if you have a 3.4 GPA and you score a certain amount on your ACT, you will get $1,000 in scholarship money, or, you know, things of that nature. They have to show that they are good students and are dedicated. We'll also need a letter of support from their teacher and their principal to understand that you know, that the applicant is who they say they are, and they actually are a good person. We really want to help, you know, everyone in the city, you know, with their own version of healing, whether it's sports, education, working in the cannabis field, planting trees, whatever it takes. We just want to make the city a better place, and we'll do whatever it takes to make that happen.
And also, even if they, even if they have a 2.5, they're trying. So therefore, if they decide to go to school, we'll make sure that they're enrolled in a particular school, and then we will do our donations to that school on their behalf.
From the Jacqueline Foundation, not from Cannabis Healing. Everything will be from our foundation. And that's why I'm glad that we created it, because I can feel more comfortable with donating to anyone pretty much, because it's a nonprofit and it's not really tied to our organization. So I'm really excited about the Jacqueline Foundation. I feel like we can do a lot in the city of Boston with the foundation. And I really do believe that our employees, once they see everything we're doing and how we're trying to give back and how we're trying to help each other be great, I do think that'll help our whole establishment and our city kind of just be more together and be more happy and be more, you know, create their own version of healing.
Even though, sir, we're starting out with 17, you know, after a 6 months period, if we see that they're really, you know, we're producing and we will be able to give them more, we will do that, like a bonus, for example.
I'm a little lost. You're starting off with 17, what? 17.
Okay, we can hardly hear you. Say it again, sir.
You're starting off at $17 an hour.
And you're
Yes,
thinking
sir.
90 days, you're gonna increase that.
Yes, sir. That's it exactly.
Detail a little bit the plan for individuals with queries. Like, are you working with someone to recruit them or?
Yes, so everyone that we're working with as far as our employees are one of our assistant managers, Hansel Canzares. He does management at the airport, and that's pretty much that is his job, as far as reading resumes and accepting who should be in the establishment. He also used to work at a former cannabis establishment, so he's experienced in that matter. Him, me, my mother, and we also have a licensed certified. I don't pronounce the name right. He's a consultant pretty much, and he comes by and makes sure that your business and your employees are doing their due diligence and making sure that all the dots and all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. And we're gonna be doing that as well a couple months way before opening. We already did some practice walkthroughs, but as we get further along in the process, pray to God, once we get further along, we'll definitely have it more realistic, and we'll definitely have some practice runs. And by him being certified and already working with multiple dispensaries, that will kind of help our establishment as well.
And we'll have a job fair too.
And this is specifically around folks with queries.
I'm sorry, sir. I'm sorry. This is very low.
Specifically around folks with queries? This consultant and the thing that people that you talk about, is that going to be their focus?
Yes, whenever we hire a consultant, we're going to hire them exactly to do a job. So that specifically consultant that we're hiring that pretty much does the management and the employee structure. Yes, we're going to hire him to do that. All specialists, we're going to hire. Another mentor of mine who spoke previously, Jeff, who owns Low Key Dispensary. I'm also, going to be helping him out free of charge because he's been mentoring me and helping me out during the process. And by him, already having a store pretty much established, that'll help out as well with knowledge. My previous experience, me and my mother in Michigan and California and in Colorado, managing and working with dispensaries has also taught us the game plan and the regimen of how employees and how they need to operate in order for your business to be successful.
Okay, and then last question. You're selling the clothing and the cannabis at the same store?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we'll have an apparel section, we'll have a cannabis section, we'll have an accessory section, and we'll have an art section as well for all the artists.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Wambos?
I think Commissioner Smith did all the employment plan questions that I had, but actually I do have a couple. One was on the part-time workers, do you plan to give part-time benefits to these workers, to your employees?
Yes, we do. Obviously, everyone wants a discount on purchases, so we'll definitely give a small discount on purchases. My friend also he's a driver, and what he wants to do is he really wants to pick up employees, and I guess he want to create his own kind of Uber Lyft system, and so we're going to be picking up our employees using his system. My friend, he's going to pick them up and bring them to our establishment. All our agreements. We're going to be giving out tickets to games, Celtics games, baseball games. We're definitely going to be hosting events for our employees and for the city. I know for sure when we do stuff in the city of East Boston, just to show our support and job fairs and giving out food and water and those things, I know for sure any employee would love the opportunity to work with Cannabis Healing. And I think just off of all of those attributes, I feel like our employees should be very satisfied in our establishment.
I see. Oh, I also meant health benefits and dental and things like that.
Not for part-time. Only full-time and managers get dental and health Part-time employees, we'll give them the opportunity to, can continue to work, and we'll have to manage them and make sure that that they're doing their job correctly before we can promote them. But we definitely do, want to promote our part-time employees to a full-time. Me and my mother's dream, we definitely want to expand and start another store in the city of Massachusetts as well. So we definitely want to encourage them to stay with us so they can get those benefits. But to answer your question, only managers and full-time members get the health and dental benefits. Part-time employees, they just get the small incentives like tickets to games, rides to work, and a discount on certain purchases and access to our events.
Okay. And what can you explain a little bit about what mediation between management and employees, what you're imagining for that?
Basically, ma'am, what we're saying is, you always have, because I have another business, and I've learned that you have to make sure there's great communication between the management and your employees. What we plan on doing is, if there's a situation that occurs, and like if an employee is upset or something, I will have our management guy talk to them. And then if there's a situation that we feel he needs to bring to us, we'll bring it to us. He'll bring it to us, and then we'll handle that situation. So we're kindly trying to make it, we're trying to really make it like a family environment. We don't want anyone, getting mad or getting upset. Things happen. But what our goal is to make everybody feel at home, and make sure that if there's any questions, if they can't get it resolved with our management, they can come and talk to us. Our office will always be open to them. And that's what we want to do. We want to make sure that's a smooth transition between the two.
Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Smith has
one more thing I would like to tell you too, I'm sorry. In reference to our part-time employees, I meant to say, since we can't give them benefits, we will probably end up giving them like a little more per hour to compensate for not being able to give them full benefits. I forgot to say that, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Commissioner Smith, you got an additional question?
Yeah, thanks, Jasmine. One question. So are you planning to use this space as an event space for like the art stuff and?
What that is, sir?
I'll explain.
Oh, you're
I'll explain. So basically, our establishment, it is a cannabis retail dispensary. It's just when you walk in, we'll just have a wall, and we'll just have a wall with like certain art pieces. So for example, we'll say, if someone, the best artist throughout the month, best 3 artists or 4 artists, we're going to put your paintings on our wall, and, artist of the month kind of thing, where people can come in and appreciate their artwork and appreciate the establishment. But obviously, of course, with our security guard and everyone inside, we're going to encourage everyone to, make their purchase and exit the dispensary as soon as possible. We don't want anyone just sitting around lingering. That's not what we're going to tolerate. Me and my mother will be on the floor at all times. So we're going to be 24/7 there. So we're going to be hands-on.
It's another way, sir, of basically showing someone's work, and also beautifying our business as well. And then someone might say, they like that piece. And then they might, for some reason, will say, well, okay,
I want to contact the artist.
I want to contact the artist. And that's kind of another way of
networking and helping everyone in their own version of healing be the best version of themselves that they can be.
Right.
Thank you for the answer. So again, but it's not going to be used for any sort of events or anything.
No, sir. No events at all. Only for purchase only. Purchase,
right.
Purchase and leave only. Events, we will rent out a park and do things of that nature with our events. We won't do any events at our establishment.
No.
Thanks so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any additional questions from the commissioners? No. Seeing none, we will move to public testimony, beginning with elected officials or their representatives.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the board. Natalia Benitez with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. The applicant met with the Eagle Hill Civic Association in January this year. Some comments in regards to close proximity to other cannabis stores. in the area, but overall no opposition from the association. Our office held an abutters meeting on April 6th of this year. There were some concerns regarding traffic flow in the area. The area tends to be a problem when it comes to traffic and pedestrians going back and forth. So there were some comments regarding that. Pedestrian safety and proximity to schools. This is in between two high schools, well, one middle school and a high school. But overall, the abutters were supportive of the business plan that the applicants presented. So at this time, our office would like to defer judgment to the board. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other elected officials or their representatives that would like to speak? Seeing none. Brittany DeSantos requested to speak.
Hi, I'm Brittany. Again, I'm the college kid that's just there for a paper. I was just, well, I think your guys, all the questions that people asked before me answered my question, because I was just wondering, like, if you guys were from East Boston, since you're so like focused around healing, I was just wondering, like, if you knew your community and like what you wanted to heal. But after hearing like all your questions, all your answers to the community questions that they asked, I think I got my answer. Like, since you guys want to, based off like your mom's profit, I really forgot what it was called, but since you want to give back to your community and things like that, I guess it answered my question. Yeah, like you don't have to be from here to like really care about it, but that's all I wanted to know. Sorry if that was like a stupid question.
No, you're fine.
You're fine.
Thank you, Brittany, for joining us today. Is there anyone else that would like to speak in regards to this proposal?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Marita Plavicini, and my family owns the building at 4 Neptune Road. We've owned it for since 2004, 2006. And I'm here to support Wanda and Brian Jones for this dispensary, because this dispensary is very different from others because this is a family-owned business. So they have a personal stake in this business. Moreover, they're committing to the East Boston community by investing and providing jobs and donating to local efforts and organizations. Plus, I've been dealing with Wanda and Brian for a year, and they're very knowledgeable about the cannabis products, and they care about the community. One thing that I want to mention is because a lot of people have been concerned about the traffic, the location. We had a function hall there for about 3 years. In East Boston, with a capacity of 100 persons. We serve alcohol. So we went through all the due diligence that they're similar to what you're going through right now for the cannabis. And we never had any issues with the police or the neighbors or anything like that. Everybody was very supportive. There's a lot of parking, not only on the parking lot itself, but there's a lot of off-street parking, right on Neptune Road and also on Bennington Street, and there's a parking lot within walking distance of the location. Moreover, it's very close. It's like a few feet away from Route 1A, Ted Williams Tunnel, Kellen Tunnel. So I don't think traffic will be an issue. Also, there used to be a beauty school located there for several years as well. But the building and the location has the capacity to accommodate this type of business. So I heartily give my support to Brian and Wanda and Cannabis Healing, and I hope that you approve them for the business. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to testify in regards to this proposal? Seeing no one, the board will take this matter under advisement. Thank you. We're going to take a quick 5-minute break. So 3:20, we'll come back and reconvene with our last matter.
Thank you so much for your time in this matter.
Thank you. We really appreciate it.
All right, our final matter. So next we have new applications for courier/delivery operator licenses, which do not count for the purposes of the 1-to-1 equity to non-equity ratio. So the applicant is Pure Oasis LLC, Pure Oasis. The proposed license premise is 430 Blue Hill Avenue, Dorchester. The license type is a delivery operator license. The proposed hours of operations are 10 a.m. to 9 p.m., 7 days a week. This is an equity applicant. The initial application was filed November 8th, 2021. The initial application with the inspectional services was filed November 24th, 2021, and the community meeting was held May 11th, 2022. There is a buffer zone conflict with another cannabis establishment, and the applicant has an existing retail recreational license at this site. Before I begin with the presentation, I will ask Leah to testify in regards to the equity certification.
Thank you, Jasmine. Our office was able to certify Pure Oasis LLC as an equity applicant through the documentation submitted by the applicant. Kobe Evans, who is the co-owner of Pure Oasis LLC, is the 60% beneficial interest holder of the company, exceeding the 51% ownership interest threshold set forth in the ordinance. Mr. Evans submitted a sufficient amount of documentation that verified that he has been a resident of Boston for at least the past 7 years by providing a proof of residency certificate from the Boston Elections Department, utility bills, and financial statements. Mr. Evans has been a resident of Boston since at least 2005. Additionally, Mr. Evans has self-identified as Black, satisfying the criteria for a person who is of Black, African-American, Hispanic, Latino, Asian, or of Indigenous descent. Mr. Evans is also a person who has been certified by the Cannabis Control Commission as an economic empowerment applicant and has been a resident of Boston for at least one of the last 3 years. He provided his certification letter and was certified as a EE applicant by the CCC in 2018. Are there any questions about this certification?
No, thank you, Leah. Who's present on behalf of the licensee?
Hi, this is Kobe Evans. I am here with my business partner, Kevin Hart, as well as our attorney, Alexis.
Thank
Good
you.
afternoon.
Good afternoon. You have 10 minutes to present. You may begin.
Good afternoon, Chairwoman and fellow board members. I'll try and be brief. I know you guys have had a long day. Jasmine, can I share my screen at this point?
Yeah, sorry.
So I am here representing our company, Pure Oasis, and we are looking to expand our presence in
Kobe, I believe your screen froze.
Blue Hill Ave.
Kobe,
Yeah,
you froze, so
that,
you didn't catch any of that.
I'm gonna.
Kobe.
Kobe, do you want to share your screen and I'll talk if you have bandwidth issues, or do you want to turn off your camera?
I'm gonna turn off my camera.
Okay.
I think he's still frozen. Oh, wait.
Now he's back. Yeah, he keeps going in and out. I don't know if.
Jasmine, why don't you undo the shared screen and see if he can turn his camera off then?
Okay, let me see.
For a second. So he's still frozen in my picture.
Yeah, he's frozen on mine too.
Alexis, do you think you could call in? We can wait a minute.
Yeah, do you want me to have him call in?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
Otherwise, I can give a brief synopsis of their proposal, but I'm going to see if he can call in right now.
Yeah, if you want me to share my screen, I can share my screen, and if you want to call that.
I can try it again without my video. That should help.
Oh,
There you are, perfect.
There you go.
Are we good?
I think we're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Pure Oasis, we operate out of 430 Blue Hill Ave. That's where our delivery will be based out of. For the most part, we'll be delivering our own product. That will give us a little bit of a market advantage. The good thing about our site on Blue Hill Ave is that we have an abundance of parking in the back. And so we can, store our vehicles in the back of our shop and have a little bit of a security perimeter when we load things up in the morning and when people depart for their deliveries. Again, I'm Kobe and my business partner, Kevin Hart. We opened Boston's first recreational dispensary back in March of 2020. And so our company is growing. We have 2 additional HCAs, one for Brighton, one for Downtown Crossing. We also have an HCA out in Dayton, Mass for our cultivation facility. And then all in all, we're looking to round everything out with a delivery operator, a courier license in Boston. So our delivery plan mimics the regulations that were put forth by the Cannabis Control Commission. If you want, I can go into all of them, but pretty much, we'll be delivering during our business hours, no deliveries after 9 p.m., following all the guidelines of the CCC in terms of not delivering to any housing developments or hotels or universities, 2 agents in 1 vehicle, following all the protocols regarding securing product. Everything will be returned to the store at the end of the night. Hopefully, in the near future, there will be more opportunities for cashless transactions, but really trying to keep everyone safe and not have any cash on hand if need be. All customers need to be verified before a delivery is initiated. Working with a company potentially on fleet as our third-party service provider. And what they do is they maximize the routes and also randomize the route so that it's not predictable. In this instance, customers won't be able to track the delivery like different than if it was Grubhub or Uber, where you can see where the vehicle is at all time. That won't be the case in this scenario. And again, going through the rigorous background and screening process of drivers, no firearms in the vehicle. The CCC has done a pretty good job at coming up with a robust set of regulations for delivery that, again, keep our drivers safe as well as customers. Operations, we have been open for more than 2.5 years, and in that we've grown tremendously. Cannabis is like dog years. 1 year in the industry is probably equivalent to 3 to 5 years. And in that time, we've learned a lot about just basic retail operations and also leveraging our networks. Applying that same knowledge base to delivery should make it a relatively easy lift. Security, again, learning from the environment that we're in Grove Hall is a very good proving ground to deploy some of the same resources to the delivery model. In fact, it may be a little easier, being is that, we're going to use common everyday vehicles. A lot of people will go for a commercial vehicle and sometimes they stand out. But we can retrofit a lot of Honda minivans and things of that nature that really blend into the surrounding and don't stand out as much as, say, a Ford Transit van or something like that. Those are some of the things that we've learned being in business and will apply to the delivery business. And again, leveraging also some of the companies like OnFleet who have been doing this for a while and can give us some resources, as well as our security consultant, Dan Linsky. His knowledge of just the security environment have proven helpful as well. Diversion. We have this system called Order Ahead, where someone puts in an order on one of our software platforms and we set that order aside. We have total control of the package, and that system also is applicable to our delivery model. And so we are already kind of in a good place in controlling all of our product. And with the software we have, it will make deploying delivery easier. And in that model, all the product will be locked up on the van, 2 people in the van, in the car, the vehicle at all times. This way we have good security, we have good communication between home base and the truck, so that we don't worry as much about security or diversion, or, you know, in this case, if someone's putting in an order, they're pre-verified, we check their ID when we get there. Our drivers are wearing body cameras, and then people sign off on the order once it's delivered. Employment, we've done pretty good with employment. You know, one of the things that happened after COVID is that, you know, we really had to double down on making sure that people were compensated properly. And so we did a whole revamp of our compensation process to make sure that we are being competitive with the industry. Because it's a newer industry, people are in high demand, and because we've been open for the longest, our employees are sought after. And so we've done good in terms of making sure that we're offering health insurance, we're offering competitive wages. We revisit salaries after the first 6 months and then annually. And we still believe in hiring from the community, because people who generally work for a dispensary, you know, enjoy using weed, and coupled with coming from marginalized communities, sometimes they could be at risk. And so if they aren't working for us, making, you know, competitive salaries, then there sometimes isn't an alternative for them. And so they end up going back to the streets. And so we're sensitive about, you know, making sure they're compensated properly. Again, you know, 3 of our businesses are in Boston, and this would be kind of a 4th vertical. And we have a great relationship in the city, and we want to celebrate that. We've made a very conscious decision to, you know, keep our roots within the city. You know, this is our home base. We're comfortable here, and we want to continue to celebrate that relationship. Again, social justice is a big endeavor for us. And, you know, we had a community meeting just about delivery, and one of our neighbors came out, and she wasn't as concerned about any of our business, more so that, you know, people parking on the side streets give her enough way that she can get in and out of her driveway. And that allowed us to foster a good relationship. And, you know, we're on a first name basis. And if she has any issues, she calls us first, and we've reached out to the city councilor to kind of help her address some issues with some landscaping around one of the city-owned lots. And we're working with Grove Hall Main Streets as a conduit to distribute some funds, you know, because it's hard as a nonprofit, or it's hard for nonprofits in the community to feel comfortable taking money directly from us. But we found a relationship with Grove Hall Main Streets, and they are potentially going to act as a conduit to, you know, spread some of those community benefits around.
2-minute warning.
Okay. And again, it really comes down to experience, and experience in cannabis goes a long way. And, you know, there's a lot of things that happen silently that works well. And then there's some glaring alarms when things don't work well. And that comes from, you know, learning over time. And there's a big time component, and time equals experience. And, you know, looking at delivery, it wouldn't be as difficult as maybe cultivation or something. And so we're excited about deploying some of our experience into a new vertical. Thank you for your time. And if you guys have any questions, we'll be more than happy to entertain those.
Thank you, Kobe. Chairwoman Joyce, do you have any questions for the applicant?
Still trying to wrap my head around some of the delivery stuff. And so I'm going to ask you some of the same questions I asked some of the other applications. So when you take your online orders, do you like group them and then send the trucks out at certain times a day, or is it on demand? You go out, like how many orders would be in a particular vehicle? Like, do you say like every order that comes in from 9 p.m. until 9 a.m. will go out at like 10 a.m. or something like that?
So we really leverage the algorithm of the software of something like OnFleet. And so, you know, they have the algorithm, they have the maps, they have all the addresses. And so I think, you know, if on average they showed in the demo, if you had 110 deliveries in the queue, they would be able to say, here's the route, here are the deliveries for driver A, B, C, D, and literally they do everything for you. So it takes the thinking out of it. And so, you know, this logistic component is $1 billion industry around Amazon regarding UPS to try and make sure that, you know, your drivers are efficient, because, you know, if you're inefficient, it costs you money. So we, you know, you partner with someone like OnFleet, so you don't have to think about it, and the problem is already solved for you. But yeah, they literally in the span of 10 seconds, you push a button and it maps everything out for you.
All right, very interesting. Thank you. I don't have any other questions.
There's also a product maximum of $10,000 in a vehicle at one time. So I think that's important to note as well.
Commissioner Holmes, do you have any questions for the applicant?
Not at this time, thank you.
Commissioner Sangian?
I don't, thank you.
Commissioner Smith?
Good, thanks, Jasmine. Kobe, how many people are you thinking of hiring additionally?
Can you repeat that?
How many people are you thinking of hiring, additional hiring?
And so in the model where you have on average 110 deliveries for the day, then that's 5 drivers, and then you need someone at the hub. And so the 5 drivers, they're usually going to be out for anywhere between 5 to 8 hours. So that's roughly 15 to 17 on the high side, full-time employees. There's not a lot of room for part-time employees because your efficiency is having the car moving out for, you know, to get all those deliveries done. And so it usually ends up being more than a part-time position. So anywhere between
15 to 17 full-time.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Lombos, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I had 2 questions. One is, you said that after COVID, you had to revamp your compensation. I am curious what the compensation is now for the industry, and like, how is it competitive?
It's a moving target, and it's a function of, you know, I don't want to say a backlog, but as you have more people getting their licenses now, then you have more people looking to open, and they need people with experience. After all those places get open, then the kind of the bell curve flattens out somewhat, and the demand isn't as high for our employees. There may in fact be a surplus as you get all these people are opening and they're not doing the numbers they thought they were going to be doing. But we're still in this kind of marching up the hill effect of, you know, more people being open or opening and needing staff, and we have staff, so we're just an easy target. And so it varies, you know. Some people say, you know, I'm a bud tender and there's a new place opening and they made me all these promises and they leave us, and we've had maybe a handful of people come back because they go somewhere and it's not what they thought it's going to be. So bud tenders are anywhere from $16 to $18 an hour. But your managers, you know, those are the people that get picked off first when it comes to competitors. You know, they're really on the high end. A manager, Kevin, what do you think?
Yeah, so so from a supervisor perspective, they're typically making around 41K with us. And we actually have an internal scale that we use so that there's equity amongst roles. And then so for assistant general managers, they're in the 50 range, and then general managers are in the 60 to 70 range. And then director of operations are upward of, they can be well into the 6 figures, depending upon the size of the operation.
But the competitive component is that someone may come to one of our GMs at 70 and say, we're going to pay you 90, 95, just because we need you right now. So it skews the whole equation because it's not market driven, it's demand driven. So now we have to guard against someone, you know, making some sort of astronomical offer. And so, you know, that's what kind of threw everything off after COVID, is that
I think
all these shops are coming.
Kobe, your earlier point was a good one. I think like being first, you know, to market in this industry has its disadvantages, one of which is we now have staff that have over 2 years of experience. So when people are opening, the first likely place to poach is from Pure Oasis. So we've dealt with that quite a bit.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm sorry. I have so many questions because you have been around in the first open, so you have a lot of lessons, but I'll leave it at that. Just one more question. I'm just curious about this driver courier part of this industry. So you're buying the vehicles, so you'll own the vehicles?
Yes.
And then, so you'll have all the liability for any accidents or anything like that?
Yes.
Yes, and
That's
it's a minimum of $1 million coverage, minimum.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay, interesting. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Do any of the commissioners have any follow-up questions? Seeing none, we'll move to public testimony, beginning with elected officials or their representatives.
Yes, Madam Chair, members of the board, Connor Newman with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Services. At this time, the Mayor's Office would like to defer judgment to the board. Some background information on the process. As you heard from the applicant, there was a community meeting as well as robust outreach with neighborhood stakeholders, including Project Right. Our office is unaware of any serious concerns at this time, but we know residents would like Pure Oasis to continue conversations with them and keep them updated as changes occur with operations. Thank you.
Thank you, Connor. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak, beginning with the elected officials or their representatives? Is there anyone else that would like to speak in general? Well, seeing no one, the board will take this matter under advisement.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So those were all the matters before the board today. The board's voting meeting will take place next Wednesday, June 22nd at 1 p.m. The information to access the voting hearing is already posted on our website, boston.gov/cannabis. Again, the record will be kept open until next Tuesday, June 21st, 5 p.m. Thank you all for attending and enjoy the rest of your evening.